G'day. Today I'm going to be changing my radiator because it's broken. You can see that shifting around in there. It's not cooling real well either. Also going to change this multi-fit hose for a forward one and my thermostat that goes in here. For parts I've got a freshly recored radiator, brand new hose, thermostat, AWA clamps, ABA clamps, and some tools and some gloves. Alright, I've now got my drain pan positioned under the car, just under there. I'm going to remove this hose clamp and let all the coolant drain out into the pan so I can remove the radiator. Alright, now that's all drained, I'm going to start taking apart all this stuff here. I'm taking apart the overflow container as well. This is another big motivator of changing it as well. This outlet, or inlet rather, on the radiator has been damaged and re-welded a few times by me, but because we had this leftover section, it never leaked, but this wasn't very pretty and I was pretty keen to change it. Well, the next thing, we'll get the thermostat housing off. Tighten this one. Just got it. Right, and as you can see, I haven't been running a thermostat at all in here, just had it open. Next bit to take out is this cover here. Sort of covers the front of the radiator. That's going to give us better access to the front of it so I can access my electric fan. So here I've got my standalone electric fan, which is out of a 740, so it's a pusher fan, so it pushes air through the radiator towards the engine. It's fitted with a Davies Craig fan controller, so that has like a temperature sensor and sort of cuts in and out by itself. And then on the other side I have just the stock 140 clutched 6-blade fan. So to take this guy out, I'm going to cut some cable ties, and that'll free up the front fan. That'll free up those two bolts as well. The only two things holding it in left is that main support bolt there, and this guy just in here as well, so let's rip those out. I'm guessing it's a 14, let's have a look. It is a 14, what can you guess? that one freed up. And gently across the other side. Coming through. Awesome, that one's free as well. I'm just going to rest back there gently. Now I was going to try to remove it without taking the fan off, but I don't think that's going to work for me, so I'm just going to take the fan off as well. It's just a bit tricky with the shroud on there to get it all off, and of course everything's going to turn on me. Cool, so I managed to crack the fan bolt loose. I was basically just holding this belt really tightly around the alternator there, while I was loosening this bolt at the front of the fan here. Hopefully I can get this off by hand from here on. Wash up. Put that at the top. And I'll just try to jimmy this fan off. There we go. Back right out of the way. That should just be able to put the radiator and pull it out of the way. Maybe not. I'm still fighting on. I think it's saying. Awesome, got a little space cleared up. Looking around, everything looks like it's in pretty good nick. All the mounts are correct, the rubber's still in good condition, there's no cracks around these things. So we're ready to put in the new radiator. Righto, let's slide in this new radiator. Very careful not to damage any of the fins, I think I'll just have all of them changed. I really want to keep everything perfect. Lined up at the bottom. Not too sure what we're stuck on here. There we go. I'll get one of our bolts in. Get everything secure. Okay. Nice and fresh looking. Awesome. Right, I just had a bit of a rethink there. Got the bottom of the radiator out. And now it seems to be able to just move sort of freely around, so that seems to be the ticket to get the fan shroud on. And I'll just get it out of the way so that I can get the radiator back into position. Reinstall that mounting bolt from before and we're on the right track. Fan shrouds are really important because they direct the airflow around the fan, they increase the efficiency of the fan. So it's something you really want to have in the correct position and not leave it off the car. Definitely want to have it on there. otherwise your fan's just not going to work right, or as well as it could, and better if it does. And there. Another little screw around there. Right, next thing I want to do is install the thermostat. So I've got my thermostat here. Nice new gasket, so I'll get that on there as well. That's all sitting nicely. And then this is the thermostat sort of enclosure area. So one little trap for young players is getting it the right way around. So it doesn't fit that way. It must go this way. And because the engine's on a slight angle in that direction, I'll make sure this little bleed valve is at the front of the engine. Other people might have another way of doing it, but that's the way I found works for me. And these engines are notoriously difficult to bleed the oil cooling system, and I find that this way works well for me. So I'm going to install it like that. Obviously I'm just talking these down. They're way too tight before, so I'm not going to do them as tight as they were, because that seemed a bit excessive. So I'll just nip them up, and if they leak I'll do them a bit tighter. Also have this brand new radiator hose, which goes on like so. Put my hose clamps on first. Radio won't slide on nicely. Slide the engine side on. Nice. And then I'll position the hose clamps in a way that they're easy to access later. If I have to adjust them or check them, because you don't want to put them in a place where it's hard to get the tool on. You get the choice where to put them somewhere you want to be able to use them. Always the best way. These are actually the OEM clamps for Volvo. They're supposed to have really good corrosion resistance, and they don't damage the hoses very well at all. So some hose clamps have little slits in them, which will cut the hose over time, and the hose clamp will just fail, or the hose will just fail, because it's being damaged by the clamp. The other thing with these ones is they're not just a normal band of steel. They kind of have little lips on the edges, so they just clamp the hose really nicely. And I wanted to get really good hose clamps on this, so I don't damage anything, and just have nice reliable cooling system. Now those two hose clamps and that hose are installed really nicely. Quite happy with that. Well, I'm just going to reuse the lower radiator hose that connects the bottom spout down there to the start of the water pump, but I do have a new hose, and I have a new hose clamp, so I think I'll use that anyway, and I'll just keep the old one as a spare. Right, I've got the lower hose slid all the way onto this section. I'm going to chuck my hose clamps on now. Again, especially with lower hoses and stuff, it's a bit less accessible. You want to be doing yourself a favour, not doing yourself a hindrance, so actually put the hose clamps in a way that they're easy to access, especially for these harder to reach ones, because otherwise you're just going to spend half your life trying to access stuff that you've put on in a way that just makes it more difficult to get to for no reason. And it's kind of personal preference, I suppose. I guess I like sometimes using spanners on them if that's all I've got, or sometimes I like using screwdrivers, so putting them in a way where you can access to them with either is quite preferable. Lovely, so I've got hose clamp installed really nicely there, hose clamp installed really nicely there. I can get spanners on it, I can get screwdrivers on it. Things are looking really good. I'm going to put the overflow little nozzle on. radiator. Get these guys all nipped up, get some corn in it, get a radiator cap on it, and we'll start priming through the system. One thing I was thinking about before, I was talking to the guys that did my radiator, shout out to North Geelong Radiators, and they're talking about, you know, all people that, you know, they want to get extra cores and they want to get electric water pumps and all sorts of stuff, and basically what often happens is, like, the cars are designed quite well, like they're designed to stay cool in stock form, and unless you're doing burnout comps and stuff like that, like, there's a good chance your radiator's great. These things use a 3-core copper radiator, and they seem to cool the car really well. Some people are talking about, you know, getting aftermarket aluminium ones made, and that might have been cheaper, but apparently these are the best thing for the job. So it's kind of, you can really reinvent the wheel sometimes, but sometimes OEM options like really good quality hose clamps, really good quality radiators are the best option, and spending more money on, you know, thicker radiators or, you know, other fancy cooling system stuff, it might not be the best bang for buck, and it might actually you know, make the car not work as well. You know, the heater might not work as well. It's yeah, horses for courses. But yeah, don't think just because you spent more money on something it's going to be better, but often the way a car's designed is the best option. Fueling up. Rightio, got corn in the radiator, got corn in the overflow. Start her up and see what happens. Right, not too much happening so far, so I'll chuck this guy back on. See this now, this guy. Get some of the bubbles out, good signs. Just squeezing this hose here, just push the water around. Right, so looking around for leaks, nothing under there so far, nothing around the top here, looking pretty good there. Just keeping an eye on the levels and wait for it to heat up. Here's the temperature gauge a little while in, so we're sitting, I guess, just at the bottom section of the normal range, of the N setting anyway. Let's see where it gets to. Right, our temperature's starting to creep up higher than I'd like it. The top radiator hose is still cold, so hopefully the thermostat opens in a second, we'll see that drop. Right, good news. The hose is starting to heat up here, which means the thermostat's opened up. Later than I would like, it could be that there's quite a lot of air trapped in the system somewhere, so the temperature's definitely quite high, but hopefully it comes back in a sec. Right, I've done a thermal cycle now with the new radiator. Don't have any leaks, which is a fantastic sign. But with the new thermostat, the temperature is higher than I would like it, or the temperature reading is higher than I'd like it. I'm a little bit suspicious of this 50-year-old temperature sensor back here, so I'm going to change that with a fresh one I bought, because I was suspicious of it. So I'm going to fit this and see if that changes the temperature reading. So I'm going to unplug that one. Put that wire aside, and then I might need a socket for this, or I might need a spanner, I'm not sure. Gonna need a socket. Great news, so my thermostat was defective. The old one was reading right up at the end of the orange, and this one's reading in the perfect range, which is just below, like the bottom of the M there. So that's great. Maybe I didn't have as much of an overheating problem as I thought. Maybe it was just that sensor all along, but I'm much happy about this, because that's the place I want it to be. I want it to be above coal, so I get a heater, and as far away from that as possible, so that's perfect. Righto, temperature is perfect, gripham's a bit high. Let's take it for a burn and see if it overheats. Rightio, everything's sounding pretty good. Gripham's nice and low, temperature's good. I think we're looking alright. That's a wrap. Doesn't heat up at all. It's just running absolutely fantastic. It's all back together on the engine bay. I couldn't show that because I had some popular music in the background that someone else was playing, so I couldn't show you that. But yeah, just the reverse of the disassembly. I've also removed the electric fans. This is just running on just the factory fan now. So we'll see how that goes. I can always add the other thing in later. But yeah, very happy.